in this lesson, I want to introduce you to a very cool Chrome extension that's going to allow us to very easily generate the queries that we want for our tests using React Testing Library. The easiest way for you to see this library is live in action. So let's go ahead and install it, and I'll show you how we can use it within our app. So here in Google, I'm going to type in Testing Playground extension. The extension is called Testing Playground, and the very first result you get here should be on this Chrome page. It is an extension for Chrome with this cute little frog logo, and I already have it installed, but if you do not, you'll see an install button right here. You can click that and it will install the Chrome extension. It is an extension for your browser. So now let's go back to our app, our user form, and what I'm going to do is bring open my developer tools by right-clicking and then choosing Inspect. And as we saw earlier in the course, we have tools like the React Dev Tools, and they show up as separate tabs within this collection of developer tools. Well, Testing Playground will install its own tab right here, so you can click it, and it's a pretty simple UI. And what you do with this is you click this button right here, the selector, which has the exact same icon as your browser's element selector right above, so be careful. Make sure you choose the one within the actual extension window. And then you can click on a sample element within your UI, such as this input right here. And when you click into it, it's going to show you the best query that it can generate for React Testing Library. So this extension is specifically related to React Testing Library. And as you can see here, its recommended code right here is the exact one that we have in VS Code currently. We're using the getByRole method. We are targeting an element with a role of text box, and then to provide a little bit more of a criteria to narrow down multiple inputs by, it's also providing the name, which is the associated label text, and also doing that case and sensitivity. So you might have guessed that I took our examples by using this library to assist me. When I was starting out with React Testing Library, searching the documentation was pretty difficult. There's a whole bunch of different methods and different ways to query, and you're always trying to figure out the best one and just also practice with the methods and the API available on the library. And I found that this tool was super helpful to get me to start thinking about what the best way was to query for a given element on the page. What's really cool is on this sidebar to the right, you'll actually see a whole bunch of available queries if there are multiple queries available. So for example, this one right here, if I click on this, is an alternative method called getByLabelText, which, as you might guess, is going to get an input based on its label text. But as you can see here, it says that's a great selector, but using getByRole would still be preferable though. So not only can it generate different types of code for you, but it can tell you which one is more advantageous or better. And typically the code sample that's going to be better is the one that's a little bit more precise or a little bit more resilient to change. Textbox is a little bit more explicit for what we're looking for as a matter of functionality compared to simply looking for something that happens to have a specific label text, right? It could be an input field or it could be something totally different. And so that's why the getByRole method is typically preferred by this library. With that said, if you're ever unsure, this extension will tell you what is the best one and simply allow you to just copy and paste the code and utilize it in your project. I do want to point out that this extension is not always perfect. So for example, if I click this and I try to select on password, it's not going to be able to come up with a good query for that. Or for example, if I try it over our switch component right here, you can see it doesn't work quite well. Let me try that again. Click this one, click it right here. You can see it generates this super complex query selector method call with a whole bunch of nested divs. Like, this is obviously not what we want to write in our code. So it's not perfect, but many times it is super helpful, and it will help you discover additional methods and ways to query using React Testing Library. It's always an ongoing process to learn more about the libraries you work with, and I found this is a super helpful extension for helping you with that. All right, so that is a quick introduction to Testing Playground, and this, by the way, is how I generated a lot of the methods that we'll be learning over the course of the next couple lessons. So I just combined this with the official React Testing Library documentation and made my way through our queries one by one that way. All right, that's all there is to cover in this lesson, so I will see you in the next one.